big deal. It's a doozy, and we're gonna start. We're gonna talk about this and break down some of what's happening here, not just with Twitter, but with this country in general. And I'm gonna do it from a black perspective. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're gonna get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, welcome. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm a black man who just says what's on his mind. I hope that's okay. This is a space of free speech. And so you are welcome to disagree with me, and shout out the city that you're from. Let me know what city you're from, and let me know if you can hear me okay. I just switched out my microphone. Want to make sure you can hear me all right. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. So I see your cities. I see Baltimore. Roland Curtis is B1. Let's see here. I see some other B1s in the chat. I saw Philadelphia and Chicago, Illinois for Ramel. Good to see you. What other cities we got up in here? I see Vancouver, New York, North New Jersey, Brooklyn, Oklahoma City, South Carolina, North Carolina, Nevada. What else? I see another New York, Jackson, Tennessee, Valparaiso, Indiana, Fort Lauderdale, Rockford, Illinois. Good to see everybody. Good to see you. Put your B1 in the chat. Hit the thumbs up button right now. Thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live on this channel. Now, I'm going to ask you all a yes or no question. How many of you were aware of some of the interesting drama today where Elon Musk was deciding whether or not he wanted Donald Trump to come back onto Twitter? And of course, that's controversial as all get out. He did a poll earlier today, and you guys may have seen this poll, maybe you didn't. But Elon, literally, he's the new boss of Twitter. You guys know that, I assume. And so as the new chief twit, as he calls himself, he just literally did something that would be unheard of in an allegedly democratic society, which is he allowed people to vote on something. I mean, my Lord, why would you actually let the people make a decision? That's crazy. We don't do that in America. That's too much democracy. What? We act like we live in a democratic society. My God, these people are out of their minds. Anyway, so Elon did a poll on Twitter, and it's a biased poll, right? Because he's only taking votes from people who are actually on the platform, right? So anybody who left the platform, which is most likely people who don't like Elon Musk, or maybe people who don't let Twitter drive them crazy, they didn't vote. So the vote was a little bit biased, without a doubt. The vote was biased. Well, when I checked that poll earlier, I was kind of tripping out about it because there was literally about 12 million votes on this poll, and it was slightly in favor of letting Trump back onto the platform. And I'm going to look at the poll results, and basically the results, I can just give you the short answer. The short answer is that Donald Trump apparently is going to be allowed back on Twitter because Elon Musk, gets to make that decision. And he said the people have spoken. Trump will be reinstated. And then he says something, Vox Populi, Vox Day. I have no idea what the hell that means. Y'all can tell me what Vox Populi means. In fact, I should probably Google that right now. Let me see. He types Vox Populi. What is Vox Populi? All right, let me see here. Who said Vox Populi, Vox Day? Vox Populi, Vox Day is an early reference to the expression in a letter from Alcuin to Charlemagne, not Charlemagne the God, the original Charlemagne, I guess the king of France. In 798, the full quotation, see the full quote, they're not even, what does it mean? You use the phrase to talk about the general consensus or popular sentiment, like the Vox Populi in your town that complains about potholes in the roads, or the Vox Populi at school hoping for a snow day. So I guess basically like the people have spoken. That's it. So he's saying the people have spoken. Well, really not all the people have spoken, right? Only the people that voted on Twitter actually have spoken. And I'm looking at the poll results, and the let's see here. 51.8% of the voters voted in favor of adding Trump on back on Twitter. 48.2% voted against. He got 15 million total votes. Now, let me just tell you what I did. Since we're all intelligent black people and I'm smarter than Elon Musk, I decided that I wanted to go to get the opinion of the people that actually matter. So I took a poll amongst intelligent black people, and I just basically asked, should Elon Musk let Trump be back on Twitter? And surprisingly, now this is amongst intelligent black people who can tolerate my platform, who enjoy my platform. So not everybody's here, right? Maybe some people in the Roland Martin crowd, they don't like me because I don't tell black people who to vote for. I can't do that. I'm not going to tell you to go vote Democrats or Republican. But anyway, the overwhelming majority of you, I have about 1.4 million subscribers across all platforms, or across all the YouTube channels anyway. The other platforms, we have a few million more. 74% of you said yes. 74% of you said that you're okay with Trump being on Twitter. Now, here's what my interpretation is with this, and if you will allow me to give my Dr. Boyce, Uncle Boyce interpretation. This is arm waving analysis. This is not scientific, but it's my perception based on the fact that I know you guys pretty well. Many of you probably don't even like Donald Trump that much. Many of you who voted in favor of letting him back on the platform would never vote for him. Give me a yes in the chat if you'd never want Trump to be president. I got a lot of people. There's some Trump supporters in this space for sure, but many of you don't like this guy. I'll tell you the truth. I've always thought he was kind of arrogant, bombastic. I disliked him even before it was popular to dislike him. If you remember, a lot of rappers 20 years ago, the same rappers and civil rights activists like Al Sharpton, who claimed that they hate Trump and he's the devil. Al Sharpton was kicking it with Trump a decade ago. Before they got into this Democrat-Republican thing. Go look it up. There's pictures with him and with Diddy and Sharpton and all these people. All these people that are like, Trump is a devil, Trump is a devil. They were hanging out with him before they got into the Democrat-Republican stuff, which is just a big stupid game to me. So here's the thing. A lot of you don't like Trump. A lot of you would never vote for Trump. But a lot of you still vote for his right to freedom of speech. A lot of you still believe that, hey, look, he can have his voice because I want to have my voice. Because many of you have already had your voice suppressed. Many of you, how many of you right now, give me a yes and no in the chat. How many of you have ever been in Facebook jail? Give me a yes if you've ever, all the Facebook jail ex-cons in the room, raise your hand. Say yes in the chat if you've ever been in Facebook jail. Or say yes in the chat if you've ever had your Instagram censored because maybe you shared a picture of a lynching to show you about the evil things that people have done to you and your people. Or give me a yes if you've ever had your YouTube channel shadow banned, which is what happens to my channels. I get shadow banned. I'm not out here hating nobody. They call it hate speech. Well, this is hate speech. What's hateful about me talking about reparations, you asshole? What's hateful about me teaching black people about wealth and economics, you oppressor? What's hateful about me talking to my people and being honest with them about what's going on in my community because y'all control all the damn media outlets, you SOB? Seriously, what's hateful about us being pro-black every single day of the week? Colonizer. So here's the deal. Here's where I'm just going to draw the line in the sand right now. Look, I don't like Trump. I ain't never voted for the man. I never will. He should not have access to the nuclear football. He should not be in the White House. He shouldn't. Him and Herschel Walker, neither one of those guys. I don't know what the Republicans are thinking, but when you pick Herschel and you pick Trump, you showed me that you're not that smart. But at the same time, I defend Trump's right to freedom of speech because I don't want nobody messing with mine. You go down a real slippery slope when you decide that half the country doesn't have a right to talk. Because you know what? When they get in power, they're going to do the same damn thing to you. And a lot of black people, this is just me guessing based on, I follow you all. We do polls and I watch what you talk about and I see what you're saying and I listen to all your points of view. I read your comments and I don't believe most black people think Donald Trump is a great guy or a great president. It's just that we have also experienced a type of oppression where there are people who are just literally deciding, well, because you're not gay enough, or because you're not Democrat Party enough, or because you don't believe what they believe, that they have the right to shut you down and censor you. And I don't know when this happened. This was very strange to me. It wasn't like this 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I thought liberals were the ones who believed in freedom of speech, but something happened. And in fact, actually, they say that absolute power absolutely corrupts. And I think that what happened in technology was this. I believe that when technology kind of became the king of everything, when Silicon Valley had all the money and they controlled all the big platforms, and they were pulling all these liberals out of universities, which are pretty much liberal ideology indoctrination factories. I taught on college campuses for almost 30 years, so I know what's going on. I've thought about this obsessively, and I really believe that there is a culture that's kind of taught to you when you go to college. So they come out of college with a lot of very liberal ideas. They get to where they control technology and they control the wealth, and then suddenly they start becoming the arbiter of truth. They start telling you what's true, what's false, what you are and are not allowed to believe. They did that during the whole pandemic. The whole pandemic, you had valid, qualified scientists, Harvard educated, questioning all those jabs they were trying to get everybody to take. And black people, many of y'all, were just the canaries in the mines. I'm not saying that you were stupid for taking the jab. I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying that those of you who questioned it, well, shit, you're right to question that. You mean I'm going to just hand over my power and let you put anything inside my body? I don't know what you're doing. My sister is a medical doctor. My sister went to medical school. She came to me and said, I'm not taking that stuff. She said, do you know how long it takes to create a good, I'm not going, the word rhymes with Maxine. I'm not going to even say the word because the censorship police might be listening. So I don't use the V word. I'm kind of traumatized by that. But she said, do you know how long it takes to make a vaccine and make it actually work? It takes years. And there's years of clinical trials required to make sure there's no problematic side effects. My sister, who was a straight A student in college, just like me, who went to medical school, came to me and said, I'm not putting that stuff in my body. Dr. Christina Parks, who has come on this platform, who did that amazing testimony before the Michigan House of Representatives. She said that the two groups of people who were not taking those jabs were either people who had very little education or people who had a lot of education. So either you either didn't know what was going on and you didn't trust it because you've been tricked before, or you had a lot of education and you did your research and said something don't seem right here. Me and my wife sat there and were like, they playing games, y'all. This is kind of messed up. So where am I getting with this? Where I'm going is, I'm kind of tired of this, man. I'm kind of tired of people telling me what I'm allowed to say and what I'm allowed to talk about. I don't really care if some hillbilly redneck gets on Twitter and uses the N-word. That doesn't affect me. I don't give a damn. Say what you want to say. Just let me respond. You got something to say about me? I'm going to say something back. If I even feel that you're dignified enough or worthy of a response, I may not even dignify your statement with a response. So I'm what I'm saying to you, what I'm pleading with you to at least consider is that censorship in almost any society throughout history, censorship has never ended well. Censorship is a form of tyranny that tends to lead to more tyranny. I know Donald Trump is arrogant. I know Donald Trump's a dork. I know Donald Trump is, he did. I know he rallied up all the hillbillies to go to the Capitol. But at the same time, if you're going to ask questions about the right, I think you need to ask questions about the left. I think you need to ask all the damn questions. And what you get in this society, what makes our society so stupid, I just can't make myself dumb enough to believe the nonsense that I see on TV, is that they literally will give you a lopsided analysis. See, I'm a mathematician. And in mathematics, you had the left side of the equation over here, and then you have the right side of the equation over here. Y'all can't see this, but this is two circles. This is the left side. This is the right. And you see, in mathematics, you can't just work on the left and then act like the right isn't there. You can't pay all your attention to the left side of the equation and not work on the right side of the equation, because then you're going to get an imbalanced outcome. Your answers are going to be all wrong. And you can't work on the right side without looking at the left. The only way you are able to properly solve a mathematics equation is if you look at the left, work out the problems on the left, and then make sure it corresponds with the issues on the right, and then you get a balanced equation. So America's not a balanced country. When I turn on MSNBC, everything is coming from the left. Every perspective is from the left. Every idea is from the left. And then I go to Fox News, everything's from the right. And I just really think that is about the biggest crock of insanity I've ever seen. And I'm absolutely stunned that we have a country that believes this nonsense. It really makes me wonder if we just have more dumb people than I thought that we did, because this doesn't make any sense to me. So here's the deal. Look, so Donald Trump's coming back to Twitter. I think that Elon Musk shouldn't have bought Twitter. I think it was a bad move, definitely from a financial standpoint. Now will he? How's he going to adjust Twitter? I don't know. He's probably going to change the monetization model. He's probably going to create scenarios where content creators can monetize, which I think is a good thing. I want content creators to make money. He's also going to set up something where the company can monetize a little bit better. They haven't done it so well so far. He's fired thousands and thousands of people, which might be necessary. It might have been necessary to do a purge. But so right now, though, Twitter's probably a huge security risk, because most of their critical systems probably don't have anybody monitoring them. So, now if you want to post your crazy content, you can probably get away with it because they don't have anybody there. Also, Facebook's laying off thousands of people too. And I noticed Facebook standards have been dropping in terms of them monitoring the content. So maybe this is good, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know what Trump is going to do with that newfound power. I don't think he's going to be president. I'm really curious to see which Republican weirdo is going to run for president. Because I think Trump is going to try. Ron DeSantis is probably the most stable of the weirdos. He's extreme like Trump, but he's not. He's more built for politics. And then you have. And then even Kanye told me he was going to run. He told me a couple of times he's running in 2024. I don't doubt it. I mean, I think he probably could have, got the money much easier if he kept his Adidas deal. So I don't know if you can fight Jewish people and become president at the same time. I think that might be kind of hard. But hey, he's Kanye. He can do more than I can do. But I think that this country's just gotten really weird. I think that so many strange things have happened. And I really think that the left kind of needs to check themselves, because I think that they're losing a huge connection with the Black community. I think that I see what a lot of you are saying. And I was talking to my daughter today. She did a reparations speech for school. And one of the things that I did mention to her is I said, the Democratic Party, they don't really talk about Black economics at a meaningful level. I don't think that they understand that a big chunk of their voting base has become much more intelligent. That you can't do, campaigns like booties to the polls and no voting, no vucking, and whatever the hell they do, and assume that's going to capture the majority of the Black community. You might capture some people. You're always going to capture some people with some silly stuff. And some of those same old tricks are going to work to a point, right? You have your paid operatives that, go out and pretend to be objective, but they're really not. They're really sort of Democratic Party servants. But I really think that what's happening now that's probably frustrating them is that you also have a large percentage of people that are being influenced by people like myself, or maybe a Tariq Nasheed, or whomever, who just kind of say, no, we really want to talk about economics. Dr. Claude Anderson will say, we need to talk about reparations. We need to fix our communities. We're not going to let you rule over the ashes. We're not going to let you rule over broken, dysfunctional, torn down communities with violence everywhere. We're not going to keep voting you into power in order for you to simply claim domain over a community that's dead and falling apart. So ultimately, I think you can pick up cues from little things like the way the Black community has rallied around Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving last week was the most popular Black man in America. Even Kanye West and what he's going through, with the Jewish community, a lot of people support Kanye on that. I think that those things are not necessarily in alignment with the sort of integrationist Democratic Party establishment ideas. I think that you have a huge wave of various forms of Black nationalism occurring, where Black people want to own our own stuff. We want to have our own assets. Black people want to have our own media outlets. Black people demand that you pay $13 trillion and $14 trillion in reparations for what you owe us from all the money that you stole. Things like get out the vote campaigns can no longer be seen as gifts to the Black community. That's one thing that they'll say. They'll say things like, well, we help the Black community. We register more Black voters than any time in history. Don't nobody give a damn about that. People are smart enough to know that getting black people to register to vote means you're helping yourself. You're not helping black people. It's like me buying my wife a broom and saying, I helped you clean the kitchen. I didn't help her clean the kitchen. I got her a broom and she did all the damn work. I just made it easier for her to work for me. So that ain't the same. Me getting my wife a broom and saying, clean the kitchen, lady, ain't the same as me actually getting her a gift that's truly serving her. So when they have these voter drive campaigns to get black people out to vote, they're basically just saying, okay, we're going to make it easier for you to come and support us. And then also, when you're talking about that, overall, I think that people just want tangibles. I think that that there are a lot of black people who are either not voting for anybody or some of them are voting Republican. I also think that black people, many of us, not everybody, but they believe in family values. And I think that when you're throwing a lot of gayness and transgender stuff in people's faces, people don't like it. I think that most black people, though, are pretty loving, understanding people. Most black folks I know that go to church, they don't have no problem with the fact that the choir director is gay. They love the choir director, but if he walks up and says, hey, I'm going to go and talk about how gay I am, all day long, and I want you to cheer me on, a lot of black people will probably say, no, I don't really care. I don't want to hear all that. I don't want to hear what you do in the bedroom. I don't care. What's interesting to me and what I see from liberals, honestly, is that they operate like they're your parents. They operate like from a very, what is called paternalistic standpoint. Paternalistic means that you don't know what's best for you. We know what's best for you, and that's the problem, right? The black voter base, a big chunk of it anyway, has grown up. They've evolved. They started looking around and saying, okay, what really matters to us? Okay, our economics matters. We already know Black Lives Matter. We don't need you to tell us Black Lives Matter. So keep your, you ain't got to put the flag up. You ain't got to paint the street. You just, we know Black Lives Matter, right? But our families matter. We need to rebuild our families because Joe Biden and mass incarceration and the war on drugs destroyed our families. We know that our wealth matters. We know after many, many decades or centuries, really, of working for white people, we don't need to work for white people anymore because that's an abusive environment that's full of all kinds of toxicity and stress that ends up killing us at an early age. What else? We also know other little things like this medical system that you believe in so much is actually killing us, and that your corporations are promoting fast food and all kinds of toxic food to the community that's killing us. So we're going to actually focus on our own health so that we don't keep dying from diabetes and having you act like the only deaths that occur in our community are police shootings, when really you have tens, hundreds of thousands of deaths that occur in other areas. So I really think that the best solution for black people, in my opinion, that's more universal in general, is just a type of sovereignty. Just sovereignty. I think sovereignty means getting together and solving your own problems. Like when we talk about health, let's talk to our own medical experts and figure out what should we be eating? How can we be healthier? I can't trust those doctors. I can't trust this medical system, right? When you talk about your wealth, how do we own assets? How do we make investments? How do we get our real estate? How do we hire each other and create our own jobs? Because I'm tired of waiting on white folks to create a job for me. Our relationships. What does a healthy family actually look like? And how do we have our own conversation about what it means to be gay or trans or things like that, or non-binary? I think all those things are real. I think everybody sees that. Many of us have people in our own family who fit different categories of sexuality. But when you sort of have all these conversations being led by other people, that's when you end up getting misled. That's when you get pulled away from your own culture. And I'm not a big fan of integration. I'm okay with integration in terms of us living in the same neighborhoods or going to the same schools. None of that's an issue. But I do have an issue with integration when it comes to integrating with their culture, because some of their culture is not healthy. Ours is a little healthy in certain areas. Also, when you integrate with other people, they put you at the bottom and put themselves at the top. Remember, when white folks integrated you in the 1960s, they didn't integrate you as an equal. They didn't bring you into the house so they could treat you as an equal partner. They brought you into the house so you could be the damn help. So next thing you know, they're up here, they're winning, and they're winning even more because you gave up everything that you owned in order to sit next to them and to work next to them and to serve their companies and their organizations. So me working for you or working with you is very different from me being a partner versus me working with you and you being my pimp. So you thought you were getting a partner, but really you got a pimp. And I think it's time that we end the pimp game and start moving to something that makes sense and is a little more independent. It's going to take more work. It's going to take more consciousness. It's going to take more intentionality, but it's there for us. But one thing that we got to do in order to make that happen is you got to stop taking your ideas from other people. In fact, I think, when I did, I'll be honest, when I did talk to, Kanye or any other celebrity, Ice Cube, or any of those guys, when they've called me, I've always been sort of secretly kind of saying like, hey, why don't you help me get $100 million so we could just build black owned schools all across the country or fund the schools that are out there. There's so many black teachers that are teaching black kids and working on a damn shoestring budget, like literally rubbing nickels together, educating babies better than the public school system. And you can't get them money, but you can go buy a damn Lamborghini or Rolls Royce from white people. You go to the damn jewelry store, drop $500,000 and brag about it on a record. You'll go and spend money on, on your kids' birthday parties and new clothes and all this other stuff. But you can't go and write a check for like $1 million to some of these black owned schools where they're out here really doing the work. You got to know what it really means to really care about your people. What are you sacrificing for? What are you committing to? What are you investing in? And I'm not saying that they're not doing anything. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you've got to really, really start to kind of shift your priorities a little bit if you really want to get out of this thing. What are you committed to? Are you committed to other people, or are you committed to yourself? I think about it, like even some of the rappers, like, and I don't want to question them too much. I don't want to be mean, but like you look at a Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z's cool. He's fine. I don't dislike this guy. I think he's psychologically, I think he's pro-black. I really believe he is. But a lot of times it seems that when celebrities talk about what it means to be pro-black, they're talking about something that's like, cultural, like I wear dreadlocks, or I speak pro-black, or maybe I make a donation to like some organizations in the black community, and all that's fine and good. But what I really am looking at is, where are you giving the bulk of your resources? So, for example, like a Kanye, for example, he speaks pro-black. I've heard him say very good pro-black things. But then I'm kind of like, but you married a Kardashian, so hundreds of millions of dollars of your wealth is going to go to those white kids, or not your kids. Not that your kids are white. Let me say that again. That's wrong. It's going to go to people who are not black, right? Because I think that the greatest investment that a man makes in his life is with his wife. And if your wife is black, then your money stays black. If your wife is white, then half your money gets white. That's just a fact. If you go into investments, like, so if you look at Jay-Z, for example, and you say, where are the majority of your investments, and who really owns and controls these assets? If you're sitting there and you're doing these summits with nerdy white boys from Silicon Valley, that I get it. There's more money over there, but those aren't really your people. Those aren't your people. There's smart black people that you could invest $100 million with. What's going on? Why aren't they kind of in the loop? Like what's happening with this, right? Or if you look at an athlete, and the athlete has a lawyer, a manager, an agent, and whatever. Why are your agents and your managers and lawyers white and Jewish? But you talking about you pro-black? If you pro-black, then I would imagine your lawyers and your agents, at least some of them, should be black. Not all of them. I'm not saying that the standard has to be insanely high. I'm not saying that you're a sellout if you have a white guy working for you. That's just not true. I've had white people that have done work for me before, but at the same time, the bulk of your energy, the bulk of everything that matters to you should be directed toward something that benefits your own people, right? So I think that we have to raise the bar a little bit. That's my point. I think we really got to raise the bar. I think that even if you talk about entertainment, I think we got to challenge the rappers and really think carefully about what kind of music they're allowing other people to pay them to promote to your community, and stop acting like these guys are heroes when really they are the biggest villains on earth. When really, anybody who's up here rapping about murdering black people and getting black kids hooked on drugs and throwing away all of your black wealth and promoting ignorance over intelligence and disrespecting your women, peeing on your women, how in the hell do you hold that person up as a hero? The only way you do that is if you are as brainwashed as they are. That's it. That's the only way you do it. If you crazy as them, and you probably go along with it because that person's popular, right? Even if you look at some of the TikTok dances, I listen to lyrics of songs. I don't just listen to the beat. If you listen to the lyrics of songs, has anybody ever listened to the lyrics of some of the TikTok dances that people will dance to, and they do it just because it's popular? Like, and this one ain't so bad. This ain't terrible. This ain't terrible, but it's interesting, right? I saw Stacey Abrams and this other lady, or Kerry Washington, dancing to that song. What was it? I'm looking for a yellow bone, long haired star, thick in the hips. Come get in my car. Now that's not terribly bad, right? Like my wife is a yellow bone, so yellow bone, like light skinned people are black too, but there is a little colorism there, right? Like there's a little colorism because neither one of them were yellow bone, right? But it's just kind of like I wonder if anybody ever thinks about that stuff. And but there are other songs that are 10 times worse than that. Not that that's the worst. That's not even the worst out there. But my point is to say that you can't just sort of go along with things because they're popular. You know, you kind of have to form your own ideas. And so going back to this whole thing with Twitter and Trump and free speech and Elon and all that, I believe anybody who has a point of view should be allowed to go on Twitter and say what they want to say. I'm not offended by your words. A toothless hillbilly can call me the N-word all day long. I'm not going to go to jail because I feel like I got to beat your ass because you called me the N-word. By me doing that, what I'm really saying is that I believe that you're superior to me or that you're important enough that I'm willing to take myself out of my household, away from my children, in order to prove a point to you. Why do you have to prove a point to a stupid person? Like, what's the point? Do they care? Do white people care when you call them names? Is a white man going to go to jail because you called him a cracker or whatever you called him, right? Is he go, oh, I'm going to jail now. I'm going to jail now. No, that's stupid. Like, don't do that. That's immature. That's ridiculous. That's bad culture. That's very bad culture. So ultimately this whole thing, I know we spun into different directions, but I think that this move by Elon Musk to put Trump back on Twitter, it was a very political move, obviously. I like it in the sense that I'm a fan of free speech. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump in order to appreciate the idea of people being able to have a fair exchange of ideas. And if we'd allowed a fair exchange of ideas during the pandemic, a lot of people would have not been hurt. A lot of people lost their jobs because they wouldn't get those jabs, and your country's falling apart. Your country's getting more and more divided every day. And so as the country is getting divided, I believe intelligent Black people need to come together. I think that we can come together. And the way you come together, in my opinion, is you got to sort of think about it in terms of priorities. If I'm talking to you, I'm going to try to find the areas we agree before I find the areas that we disagree. All right. So that means if I'm straight and you're gay, I don't care, as long as we're both pro-Black. That means if I'm not a feminist and you are, that's fine, as long as we're both pro-Black. If I'm rich and you're poor, who cares? As long as we're pro-Black. If I went to college and you didn't, who cares? As long as we're pro-Black. So maybe the common denominator is just love. Like, do you just love your people? Do you love, do you love your community? Do you want your people to win? And I think we can rally around the things that we care about, the things that we love, as opposed to dividing ourselves by the things that we don't like. Okay, so in like this Democrat Republican stuff, that shows me a lot of immaturity. If you're willing to let go of somebody who's been in your family your whole life, stop speaking to a damn relative because they voted for somebody different from you, that tells me that you got to do a lot of thinking, because none of these political parties are ever going to be there for you the way your cousin was there for you. Your cousin might be a Trump supporter and you're not, but your cousin's going to come through for you quicker than Donald Trump will or Joe Biden will. Neither one of these people, neither one of these parties has ever shown at any point in history that they care about you. And I think that some of the standard tricks that are used to get you to, have excessive allegiance to one party or another, they're as dumb as doornails. The tactics are dumb as hell. Little things like, or you don't vote for the Democrats. Oh, you think the Republicans are going to be better? No, I don't think they're going to be better. But I have a standard. My standard is that if you're not going to do something good for my community, then I'm not going to vote for either one of you. It's just like dating. Why in the hell if a girl breaks up with one boyfriend who's mistreating her, why does she have to go date the other guy? The guy's like, well, he used to beat your ass every day. I only beat your ass once a week. So you should be with me. She doesn't have to be with anybody. Why are Black people scared to be independent? I ask y'all the question, like, why are we scared to just exist and do it? I mean, what's going to have a greater impact on our community? Who we vote for or what the hell we do? Like, seriously, give me a yes or no in the chat. If Black people right now, if we committed to doing our best by our kids, raising our kids right, educating ourselves to the highest levels, if we committed to building our wealth, with with ultimate expediency, do you think that we could be successful? If we were picking up a book before we picked up our phone to watch stupid videos, if we were to focus on loving each other, if we were to start thinking about our health, do you think that we'd be all right? Or you think we need white people in order to survive? What if we had our best doctors and attorneys and best business people teaching our people how to do things, how to start companies, how to build things, how to shoot guns, how to grow food, how to survive? Do you think we'd be all right? You think we got enough smart people in our community to help us get by? Or do you think that we need white people like they're our parents? They're not your damn parents. You don't need nobody except each other. All you need is yourself. That's all you need. But you got to have a confidence in that. You got to believe in that. It doesn't mean that you have to be hostile toward anybody. But my Lord, why in the hell am I sitting around and arguing with black people who just really swear that I need white people in order to validate me or for me to be successful? Or why am I even arguing with you about this Democrat Republican stuff? I don't even care. Have you seen the things that Joe Biden has done to the black community? Have you seen the things that the Republicans have said about black people and done to black? I don't care about any of that. I'm not going to sit and argue with you about that. I'm not going to end my relationship with you about that. So I would just tell you the greatest indicator of how things turn out for you is going to be your own personal decisions. What are you going to do right now? If you're a man, are you going to go and get drunk every day and get high every day and go make babies everywhere and throw your money away and not ever learn any skill, not ever learn anything? Well, then you're going to be a loser. I don't give a damn who's in office. I don't care. Democrat, Republicans in office. It don't matter. They'll all lock you up. They'll all marginalize you because you're not doing your best. You're not trying. You're not working toward anything. So choices are really critical. I'm going to tell you, choices will put you at good choices will put you at the top no matter who is in office. In fact, you don't believe me? Go ask Asian people. Asians don't even hardly vote in the elections, but they got a higher income than all of y'all. Their per capita income year after year has always exceeded white people, black people, Hispanic people, and everybody else. So if Asians don't even vote, if they don't get caught up in Democrat, Republican, booties to the polls, y'all, chop suey at the polls, y'all, they don't do all of that. They don't care. I'm not saying none of them vote. Some of them do, I'm sure. But really, their voter participation rate is like really low. So if their voter participation rate is that low, how do they have all this power and success and strong families and all these other things? Not that every one of them is doing well, but on average, they're doing quite well. Because it comes down to culture and choices. Culture and choices. That's it. Why do you think Jewish people have so much power and they're only 3% of the population? Culture and choices. Again, I know we've had a whole conversation about what's anti-Semitic and what's not. And I think that they are incredibly biased in terms of how they throw around that term anti-Semitism. It don't even mean nothing no more. They use it so much. They use it to pretty much discredit anybody who disagrees with them. The game has been uncovered. We know what that is, right? But you cannot deny that they have a tremendous amount of power, and they get that power because of culture and choices. They are not going to let you miseducate their kids. They're going to educate their kids. They're not going to let you trick them out of all their money. They're going to keep their damn money. They're not going to let you disrupt their culture. They're going to control their culture. So if you want to learn how to be successful in this world, individually or collectively, there's examples out there. And that's what I think you should pay attention to. I could give a shit less about who's running for office, to be honest with you. Ain't not one election ever happened in the history of this country that has dramatically shifted the well-being of black people. None. Not maybe if you throw in the Civil Rights Act, but even that was a big rope-a-dope. That just tricked you into getting comfortable, believing you had rights that could be easily stripped away from you in a second. So because everything since integration has gone downhill, everything that's happened in the black community for the most part in terms of quality of life since integration has gone downhill. Well, why is that? Well, because you don't own anything. You don't control anything. At the end of the day, ownership and control matters. Awareness matters. Unity matters. Awareness comes in the form of education and instruction and understanding how these processes work, how the world around you works. So if you are ignorant and you choose to stay broke and you choose to stay divided, you will always lose. There ain't one single ignorant, broke person who's isolated from family and any support system who has ever been able to be successful in this country. Seriously, think about it. You ignorant, you don't know what the hell's happening. You leaning on white people to tell you what's going on. They're going to lie to you. You broke as hell, so you have no economic power in a country that's built on economics. And you isolated, so you ain't even got a posse to back you up. You are not gang affiliated in a world that is built on gang affiliation. Everybody has a clique. Everybody has a gang. Everybody has a group that supports them. But you out here thinking you can get by with no group. No, you need a group. I can't get by without my group. Y'all are part of my group. A lot of y'all are part of my group. So at the end of the day, those are the things that matter. This other stuff, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up for tonight. I just wanted to come in and chop it up with y'all a little bit. And again, you don't have to agree with me to come on this platform. This is a free speech space. Feel free to lay out your own perceptions or opinions in the chat. I have no problem with anybody's point of view, even if you disagree. Just be respectful. That's all you got to do. Just be respectful. Let's have a debate and let's figure out what the right ideas are. All I ask is that it be our conversation, not a conversation controlled by MSNBC or Fox. Those are not good conversations. Those are not conversations for you. That's for them. Let them fight. Y'all come together and learn to respect each other. Got it? Okay, cool. Do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My website is boycewatkins.com. The second day of our conference, we have a conference that we're doing right now in the Black Business School on how to get government contracts and grants. Michelle Walker Davis is the leader of this conference. So if you have a 501c3 or a business, or you'd like to learn how to apply for these grants or contracts, you can feel free to join us tomorrow. Everything's recorded from the previous day, and the recordings are yours for life. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, and you can take a look, and you can join us. And we also have other stuff happening in the Black Business School. We ain't waiting for nobody. We are teaching our people. We're doing it every week. Every Tuesday, we have stock market investing class. Wednesday, we have Powernomics training. Everybody, that's 100% free. And then also Thursday, we do stock options. So every week we're learning, we're studying, and we ain't waiting for nobody because we are winners. So going out there and win. God bless you. Love you guys. Have a good night. If you could hit the thumbs up button before you go. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.